not a ranger, but I lived on the outskirts of a national park in a cabin. It was a 4-mile drive from the main road just to get to the property, and we had no plumbing or power. This property was right next to where the park started. To call it the middle of nowhere was an understatement. My roommate at the time was interning with the Park Service, but he's a city kid. Every evening at the dead of night, I had begun hearing noises in the woods, what I thought was someone walking, but then they'd just stop in particularly overgrown areas of the jungle, so your mind starts to doubt itself. Is it a pig? A cat? Is it just the wind? The cabin didn't have a locking door, and the owners didn't want me to install one, so I began sleeping in my car. Now, this is a huge property, and I'd parked my car over an acre away from the cabin and where I was hearing something. I started hearing those footsteps again. I moved out. My roommate, who thought I was bonkers, stayed and still slept there without a locking door. He got robbed, not once, but twice after I moved out. So he finally put up motion-triggered cameras. There was a man with a long rifle who'd hike up to the property, set up in the bushes, and watch us. I come from a small city in Australia. About 20 years ago, a girl went missing, Rihanna Barrow, and the case has never been solved. Sadly, I think it's been long forgotten, but at the time it was a major news story. Anyway, about a month after her disappearance, myself and a friend were walking through a park around the area she vanished from. We were about 11 at the time. We step out onto the street and see this boy, around 7 years old, hurrying down the street. A car is following him, slowly, about 10 meters behind him. We thought it looked strange, and my friend, being a little bit more switched on than me, called to the kid, pretending to be a friend, and he ran over. The car stops in the middle of the street. We couldn't see who was in it, but there were 2 men in the car. After a long standoff, my heart pounding away in my chest as we could all sense something was wrong, the car slowly pulls away and heads off down another street, and one of them waved out the window at us. The kid said it had followed him from the corner store a few blocks away. My biggest regret was after walking with this kid back to his house, which was only a few streets away, we sort of decided not to tell anyone. And I don't know why. As a preteen attending some group event with several families, I left the building to get something from my dad's car. It was early evening, just dark enough that you couldn't really see everything, and the parking lot wasn't lit. Before I could get to the car, some older guy, maybe mid-30s to 40s with a beard, stepped out and tried to grab me. I remember his face vividly. I turned away and sprinted back to the building and the safety of my family. This guy shows up 30 seconds later. He actually followed me into the building and started writing things down on a board. I think he was mute, or just wacko, and used this board for communicating. He was writing that I was his son, and that he was coming to take me away. My dad just about lost it. I don't remember the rest. I think I blocked it out of my memory. But I can't help but think of what terrible things might have happened if I hadn't gotten out of his reach in time.